which I had given you. Yeah, yeah, yeah. We will summarize the entire provision. You know that under section 154 CRPC, a first information report is lodged in the with regard to commission of the cognizable offense. Now the procedure for investigation start from section 157 onwards. 157 subclause A mandates that here the police officer is not bound to investigate when the offense is not disclosing commission of cognizable offense, isn't it? That is section 157 too, and nobody can dictate to the police officer that you conduct investigation or not to investigation. He will only investigate the matter when the offense is disclosed. Then, after conducting the various investigation under section 159, 160, 161, where recording of the witnesses take place, then under section 162, the statement of the police officer recorded which are not amounting, then complying with the provisions of 163, 164, recording of the confession statement before a magistrate, if any, because you know that statement recorded by a police officer are not confession. An accused person wanting to make confession, then the police officer has to arrange before a uh, arrange those statements to be recorded before a judicial magistrate. That is the language of section 164 is mandatory. Now section 164 is also mandatory in all cases of rape and cases relating to outraging the modesty of women, under subsection 5 of section 164. Please note that here. The police officer is bound to bring here before the magistrate and record the statement. Then it is also mandatory under section 164A. The police officer must record the medical examination of the victim of the rape. That should be done within 24 hours because the medical evidence should not be wiped out. Because the medical evidence, normally DNA report or a seminal report, they get wiped up maximum in 72 hours. So the law mandate that in such matters, even DNA report cannot be delayed. It should be taken up immediately. All these medical evidence that is given them. Then section 165 and 166 deal with the power of a police officer for search and seizure. Please note that these are independent powers, whereas the power of a magistrate for search and seizure are section 92, 93, 94. They are different. But the police officer, has a right to search under section 165 in the matter, without there being any impediment in the matter. So after collection of this evidence, you know that what the police officer is required to file a charge sheet under section 173. Provided the police officer is convinced and satisfied that he files a charge sheet. Now, before filing a charge sheet under 173, there are two more important sections, that is 169 and 170, which I would like to, they are very important section. You know that one of the cases which I sent to you is under section 169 Jet Airways matter this morning, where the complaint was lodged by the ticket agent that Jet Airway has caused damage to them, cheating and misappropriation to the tune of several crores of rupees. One of the Habib Travels. Today's report, you can see that. In that matter, the police officer, after investigating the crime, had submitted a report before the magistrate that no offense is made out because this is purely a civil matter, and there is no need to proceed in the matter. So he filed a report under section 169, which is also known as a closure report, or in the state of Maharashtra, they call it a C summary report. Okay? C summary report. When you open the Jet Airways matter, I have mentioned what is a C summary report under the police manual. When a C summary report is filed, and the magistrate need not proceed. That is the opinion of a police officer. But the police officer, no sooner he files the report under section 169, that is a that he is bound to communicate, he is bound to give information to the informer under section 173 subclause 2. check करो आप 173 के अंदर 2 के अंदर as soon as it is completed, the officer in charge of a police station shall forward to the magistrate empowered to take cognizance of the offence or report in the state government stating. So one of the report is when you see clause number Roman 2 after G के बाद, after H के बाद, the Roman 2 says the officer shall communicate in such manner as may be prescribed the state government the action taken by him to the person, if any, to whom the information relating to commission of the offence was first given. So, the police officer, after investigation, suppose if he comes to a conclusion under 169, there is no evidence, but he himself has no right to close it. But he can make a recommendation to the magistrate by filing a charge sheet final report under 173, in which he can mention, my lord, there is no case made out. It is in that event he is also obligatory to inform the complainant. Please note that here, section 173, subclause 2, and clause number 2 makes it mandatory. Now, one of such matter came up for consideration before the Supreme Court, that I will discuss the case law with you after discussing the Gujarat judgment. That is one provision. Then another Abhinandan Jas case also, I mentioned to you earlier, 1968, that is Justice Hidayatullah's judgment, where the complaint was filed in respect of kidnapping of a girl. The police officer, the police officer, the police officer, after the police officer, after investigation of the crime, came to the conclusion that here, it was not a case of kidnapping, it is a case of a elopement. So he filed the report under section 169, placing on record that the magistrate, there is no need to proceed further in the matter. So the law says that here, when such a report is filed under section 169, whether the injured person or complainant or relative have a right of being heard. Yes, that is what the law says. But you learn under the provisions of section 200, when the magistrate is taking cognizance of a matter under 200, or under the provisions of section subclause 1 or 202, postponing a position, holding an inquiry or investigation by the police officer, or investigation ordered by any of the private officer, there is no obligation to give notice upon the accused person. Please note that there's a difference between giving a notice to the accused person. Accused is entitled to be heard only after receiving the summons under section 204. Whereas in the case of a informer, he is entitled to the copy of the first information report immediately under section 154. That you learned it here. A copy must be given to him immediately free of charge under 154. Then number 2, second obligation, when the police officer is taking cognizance or not and sending a report under section 173, he is bound to give communication to the first informant. That is also mandatory. Now, in cases where he is closing the report, he said that no case is made out, he is under obligation to give the report to enable the informer, to enable the first informer, to enable the victim to make an application to the magistrate, that is called protest petition, that the closure report is not acceptable to me. Please note that. These are the matters which never came up for discussion before Devrapalli's judgment, where the Devrapalli's judgment was, that is Lakshmi Narayan Reddy's matter, was only confined to the role under section 200, when the magistrate can take cognizance under 200, and when he can issue order under section 156(3), and when he can issue order under 202. That was the only discussion. Barring everything except the fact that the learned Supreme, the bench of the Supreme Court took the view that here 156(3) is only a precognizant stage. Once it is exercised, thereafter the court cannot do that, has been found erroneous and not agreed upon by the bench, by the bench of Justice Nariman in the present judgment, which I will point out to relevant paragraph. In fact, there are previous judgment of the Supreme Court, for example, which had not been drawn to the attention of the bench here, which I will discuss couple of them here. So, in sum and substance, now that is it. Then when he is taking cognizance, now when the police officer, for example, 169 ka issue I have shown you, when you also go through today's judgment, which I sent to you, of Jet Airways, where the Metropolitan Magistrate Esplanade Court filed a closure report on the complaint filed by the one of the agent, that is Akbar Travels, against Jet Airways, that the owners of Jet Airways has siphoned off substantial amount running into crores, which they are given, and there is also matter pending before the CLB, Company Law Board. In that light, the police officer, it's purely a civil matter. Then the matter was taken before the Court of Session, under the provisions of Section 397, read with 3401, and the learned session judge has given order yesterday, which is reported in today's press. You can see the Indian Express today, and which I have forwarded you a copy. In the judgment of the session court, they have affirmed the order and judgment of the learned magistrate passed under 169, stating that there is no, this is purely a civil matter and there is no material to proceed, there is no point in. So that is the substance and the matter. Of course, the complainant has a right to go in the High Court now under section 482 of the CRPC, read with Article 226, 227. That's a different matter that will be tested. So that is, in the matter of closure report, it is mandatory that the police officer must give notice to the complainant, and the complainant has a right to file a protest petition before the magistrate, and the magistrate is under obligation to hear the parties. Now, the course open to the magistrate when protest application is given, number one, he may take cognizance himself under section 190 subclause 3, because he is not going to rely upon the magistrate from his own information, from his own knowledge, because he peruses the entire report under section 173, and also the report of the police officer under section 169, and also the case diary under section 172, and also he peruses the various remand application under section 167 to CRPC, and he will also peruse the protest application filed by the. So, in the light of this various material, the learned magistrate, the judicial magistrate, will form his opinion. So, there are three options open to him at this stage. Number one, he may either accept the report of the police officer and close the proceeding, after, of course, giving an opportunity of being heard to the complainant or the victim. Number one. Number two, he may disregard and reject the report of the police officer under section 169, holding that here, I am not acceptable to agree with the conclusion of the police officer, there is no material and there is no evidence. No, the magistrate himself can take cognizance under section 190 subclause C, which are vested with his own powers, that we discussed. Number three, the third course open for him is the learned magistrate can also institute a direct investigation, a reinvestigation under the provisions of section 156(3). Please note that. Now, this provision at the stage of closure was skipped the attention of the Devrepalli's Rashminarayan Reddy's judgment by this three-bench judgment. But this judgment of the Supreme Court is now more elaborately explained by the present bench what the magistrate can do. So the another course open for the magistrate is here. Number one, he may reject the prayer of the police officer under 169. He will take cognizance under 190 subclause 3. Number 3, he may order investigation fresh under section 156.3. Nobody can stop. That means clock can be set back. When you see paragraph number 17 of the Devrepalli judgment, the Supreme Court says you cannot do that. That is, once at the stage of precognizance, the magistrate has taken power under 156.3. Thereafter, he cannot switch back, which is not a correct legal position. Please note that here. So, in sum and substance, this is the judgment, this is the legal position. Now, under 170, 170 is very important. When the police officer says that there is a sufficient material, let us go on the proposition, there is a sufficient material, and what he has to place, and certain documents he can hide. He can tell the magistrate, I am placing certain document, and the certain documents may not be disclosed to the accused. Please note that here. Like under the provisions of Order 14 rules, Order 7 Rule 14 CPC, or Order 8 Rule 1A CPC, plaintiff and defendant can withhold certain documents which is meant for cross-examination. Similarly, here the police officer may take resort to may take up the plea that here the document under the provisions of section 173, 170 may not be disclosed on the ground that on true ground they are secret documents. Now you please open section 170. There are 170 खोल लीजिए. Yeah. Why? One section 170, cases sent to magistrate when evidence is sufficient. If upon investigation at this chapter appears to the officer in charge of a police station sufficient reasonable ground as aforesaid forward under the magistrate empowered to take cognizance upon a police report, then the accused is committed for trial and the offense is bailable. Accused will able to give security and appearance in the matter, and as such, so and so didn't. This first clause says that taking cognizance when material is there. Number 2, when the officer in charge of a police station forward to the accused person takes security from the appearance before such magistrate, send to the magistrate, any weapon or other article which may have been produced before him. So you know that during investigation procedure, the police officer has power to collect evidence. For example, a murder is committed. When the murder is committed, what does the police officer do? He will call the photographer. Photographic evidence is taken, isn't it? Then he will call the panchanamas. Then he will call the medical persons. Then he will call the chemical analysis report. Then he will take the DNA test. These are all the medical report. Then he will take the marks on the ground. Then the seriatim reports, the blood kiska hai, the matching karne ka. All these are collected. And weapon use, how A has committed the murder of B with a pistol or with a gun or with a chopper, there will be the chopper may be falling there or not, or the chopper may have been recovered by the police officer subsequently from the accused person when he made a confession under section 27 of the Evidence Act. No, under section 27 of the Evidence Act, when just open section 27, normally a confession made to a police officer is not binding. But when a confession is made which relates to recovery of proceeding, please just open section 27. Yeah. Yeah, when a confession is made, see, how much of information received from the accused may be proved, provided that when any fact is deposed as to discover consequences of the information received from the person accused of any offense in the custody of a police officer, so much information, whether it amounts to confession or not, relates to distinctly discovered may be proved. So here, this confession made to a police officer relating to discovery of certain article, suppose the police officer will ask him, did you commit the murder? वो बोलेगा yes, I committed the murder. That statement is not acceptable. That is not a confession, because that confession is hit by section 24. See, open section 25 and 26. Section 25 खोलिए Evidence Act. Section 25. Confession to police officer not to be proved. Then confession by accused while in custody not to be proved. Section 24. Confession under inducement threat in order. So 24, 25, 26 is the scheme of the Evidence Act, which makes the confession of the accused before a police officer inadmissible. But the immediate presence of a police magistrate, see, section 26 कहता है, no confession is made in the custody of a police officer be made in the presence of a unless it is made in the presence of a magistrate shall be proved. So in before the magistrate, confession is recorded under section 164, which you will learn it later on. But section 127 says, but if suppose a police officer asks the accused, how did you, he accepts the fact that I committed the murder. ये आपने इसको कैसे मारा? He will say, मैंने I use a chopper, क्या नाम, तलवार थी मेरे पास घर में. Where is the talwar? He will say, I have hidden this in my somewhere in the bushes. So in 2-3 kilometers जाएंगे, 5-6 kilometer, he will say, I have a farmhouse near Panvel, वहां पे छुपा के आया मैंने. Isn't it? वो जाके इंक्वायरी करेंगे. Then he will also ask me where the dead body, तो मैंने जला दिया उधर. So because whatever statement he made, jala diya, not admissible, statement recovered. But the moment he takes him to Panvel, his farmhouse, and makes inquiry from the then pursuant to the information given by the accused, police officer recover. He वो बोलेगा, देखिए मैंने ये तलवार मैंने झाड़ी में छुपाया है. So from the झाड़ी, the police officer will take it out and the accused will show him. At the time, the police officer must have two immediate respectable panchas who will be present there. In their presence, he will take custody of the article. वो custody लेगा, उसको पैक करके सामने लेके signature लेंगे. Police officer will sign it, panchas will sign it, accused will. So that statement will be proved before the court under section 27. That is why when you come back to section 170, sorry, section 170 में आ जाइए, CRPC. So CRPC 170 subclause 2 tells you he must produce before the court all weapons, an article. So these weapons are produced before the court by the police officer by recording panchanamas. That was section for panchanamas witnesses is, please remember, section 100 पे आ जाइए. Section 100 CRPC, जरा खोल लो, you come to know. This is relevant for your discussion and you should know the knowledge. Section जरा 100 खोल लीजिए आप, because sections are ulta pulta in the CRPC. Young you may student or young lawyers are likely to get confused, but I am giving you the exact section pointing out relevant. Section 100 पे आ जाइए. 100 says directions of search warrant, provisions of 38 so and so. See, person in charge of a close to police allows search. Subclause 4 में आ जाइए. Before making a search under this chapter, section 100 subclause 4, the police officer or other person about to make shall, upon two or more independent and respectable inhabitant of the locality in which the police in which the place to be searched is situated, or other locality, so much inhabitant locality is available, is willing to be witness to search, attend the witness, and may issue an order in writing to any of them to do so. So this is mandatory for the police officer to collect the respectable witnesses. You know that no witnesses can say that here I will not attend to you. You have learned last time. I brought to your attention some of the provisions of the Indian Penal Code. If the witnesses refuse to act as a panchas, they can be arrested. Yeah, that is the provision starting from that is a chapter 10 of the IPC, offenses, contempt of lawful authority and public servant. Relevant section is mm, section 177, furnishing false information or omission to act as a witness, section 176, refusing to affirm, section 178 IPC, nobody can refuse. Then 179, refusing to answer public servant authorized question. So 6 months का jail है उसके अंदर. Please note that nobody can say that I will not act as a panchayat. The police officer wants you. If they also ask you, you are supposed to give information. So that is the procedure for recording Panchanama under the CRPC section 100. याद रखिए आप. So that the police officer must collect and produce it and send it to the magistrate as part and parcel. He cannot withhold it. All this will be exhibited in trial. They have to be proved by the witnesses will be examined by the court. ये भेजने के बाद 170 क्लोज करने के बाद then the provisions of section 173 come into play. That is submitting the charge sheet to the magistrate in the matter. See, there is one more important. There is one more section which says that here. Yeah, when you see section 173 में आ जाइए जरा. 173 में report is submitted. Subsection 6 check करो, very important. Till you are learned about all these sections, appear in documents. The accused must be given documents. See, subclause 5 ये में all document must be given to accused. Now subclause 6 says that 173, if the police officer is of the opinion that any part of the statement is not relevant to the subject matter of the proceeding, or that its disclosure to the accused is not essential in the interest of justice and inexpedient in the public interest, he shall indicate that part of the statement and append to the note requesting the magistrate to exclude that part of the copies to be granted to the accused, setting out the reason. Now, certain documents may be withheld from the accused person in public interest. Now, the law, which law permits the police officer? Normally, in a society like ours, is transparency. Everybody must be given principles of natural justice say that you cannot withhold information. You are bound to follow the principles of adi alteram partem, and no person can be condemned, and everybody must be disclosed. But certain provisions empower. Under the CPC, you learn under Order 7, Rule 14, plaintiff can withhold certain documents meant for cross-examination. Under Order 8, Rule 1A, defendant can withhold certain document meant for cross-examination. Now here under the CRPC, section 173 subclause 6 says the police officer can make a request to the magistrate that disclosure of the document may be withheld from the accused person. That section I am pointing out to you, section 123, 124 and 125 Evidence Act. वो खोल लीजिए जरा. These are important documents. Please note that real provision. Now that is the law. Section 123 आ जाइए. Now, in the light of Pegasus issue going on, it is very important whether they are very important to withhold or not. Now, let us see that here. The Supreme Court will decide it. We are not going to comment upon it. Now, section 123 here. evidence as to affairs of the state. No one shall be permitted to give any evidence derived from the unpublished official record relating to affairs of the state except with the permission of the officer head of the department concerned. Number one. Number two, number 124. Official communication. No public officer shall be compelled to disclose communication made to him in official confidence when the confident the public interest would suffer by the disclosure. Number 5. 125. Information as to commission of the offence. No magistrate or a police officer shall be compelled to say when he got the information as to commission of any offence, and the revenue officer shall be compelled to say when he got the information as to commission of any offence against public revenues. So these 3 sections debar, permit the magistrate not to disclose information. That is the meaning here. Please note that. Of course, accused has a right to challenge it. Accused can always take up the plea that here they are no public interest is involved. Like in the case of Raj Narayan versus Indira Gandhi, when election petition was contested, the Indira Gandhi's lawyer took up the plea that here, first Raj Narayan's lawyer made an application that all the official records in the legislature of the UP should be given, because the UP, they use entire machinery for supporting the election of the prime minister, which is not permissible. They refused to give it, invoking section 123, 124, 125. It was challenged before the Supreme Court, isn't it? That is one of the ground of challenge under the Representation of People's Act. So what does the Supreme Court say? All of you must have gone through. In case you have not gone through, go through Raj Narayan versus Indira Gandhi's judgment. It's a leading judgment on that point. Okay. Now this will also be interesting to know what is happening in Pegasus issue. Pegasus only it is a information which from the Israeli company, that is NSO, can only be purchased by the government. Whether the government can use it for against the criminals, or also can be used against private citizens, is a subject matter which is to be discussed. The matter pending before the Supreme Court, which we cannot discuss much about it. Let us wait and watch. So, in sum and substance, the police officer has a right to withhold information, making a request. He himself cannot withhold. He himself can submit charge sheet without this document and wait for the order of the magistrate. And wait for the order of the magistrate. My lord may kindly hold it and give permission later on. This is the substance. Then if the magistrate may repel the contention, he may take it up. Then the moment he will take cognizance. If he takes, see, when a police officer has sent the report, take cognizance, magistrate is under no obligation. Magistrate will apply his own judicial mind. If he is satisfied, then he will issue process under 204. If he is not satisfied, he may say that I will issue investigation under 156(3). Or you may see that here, subsection 8 check karo. Very important. Nothing in this section shall be deemed to preclude further investigation in respect of the offence after report under sub 2 has been forwarded to the magistrate, and whereupon such investigation, the officer in charge of a police station obtaining further investigation, oral or documentary, forward to the accused further report. This is the supplementary weapon in the hands of a police officer and the magistrate, both here. The police officer, even after charge sheet is filed, when a charge sheet is filed, normally investigation stands closed. But subsequently, if further information, further evidence come on record, say that here at the time when the commission of offence took place, only accused number 1 and 2 were there. But बाद में investigation में मालूम होगा that 10, 7, 8, 9 people are come on record. Does it stop the magistrate from taking cognizance? Certainly not. Now, in that context, you may also see the provisions of section 311 of the CRPC, where the magistrate has got power to recall any witnesses. 311 को याद करें आप देखें. Any court may at any stage of inquiry, trial, or the proceeding summon any person as a witness, examine any person, attend, though not summon as a witness, recall any, re-examine any person, already examine, and summon and very wide power is given under 311. Now, assuming for the sake of argument, then after reinvestigation under 370, 173 subclause 8, one more, at the time, Mr. C, X, Y, Z were not the accused person. Then the police officer will make conduct further investigation, or the informer gives him information. The accused number, Mr. XYZ, who are in Dubai, Calcutta, maybe in Dubai, they were also a party to conspiracy in commission of the offence, and which was not disclosed to the police officer, which could not come to light at the time when FIR was registered. Then a person whose name was shown in the FIR, for example, last year when charge sheet is filed, subsequently case is going on, then comes to light uska bhi role hai. After recording the evidence of 2-3 witnesses, they implicate Mr. XYZ, then the police officer has the right to arrest them. Please note that that provision is the magistrate can proceed, section 319. Open 319. Section 319 CRPC खोल लीजिए जरा. Power to proceed against other person appearing to be guilty of the offence. See, where in the course of any inquiry or in a trial of an offence, it appears from the evidence that any person not being the accused has committed any offence, for such any offence, such person could be tried together with the accused. The court may proceed against such person for the offence which appears to have committed. Where such person is not attending the court, he may be arrested, summoned as the circumstances may require for the purpose of the case. Number 3, a person attending the court, although not under arrest upon summons, may be detained by such court for the purpose of inquiry or trial on the offence which appears to have committed. Where the court proceeds against the person under subsection 1, the proceedings in respect of shall be commenced fresh and witnesses be reheard. So that is why the provisions of section 311 are added in the CRPC. Once a person has been newly added, the witnesses who were already examined can be re-examined. समझे ना आप? If the person was not arrested earlier, can be arrested immediately, or he may be summoned under section 87 or under section 60 of the CRPC by issuing summon. If he doesn't obey the summon, there can be a warrant of arrest. There will be a warrant of bailable warrant of arrest, non-bailable warrant of arrest. So, invoking section at the time, invoking section 319, or before invoking section 319, it is open for the magistrate to tell the police officer to reinvestigate the matter under section 156(3). Please note that all these provisions which we are discussing now, unfortunately, had skipped the attention of the three-bench judges in the case of Devrapalli, Lakshmi Narayan Reddy's case. This is because, of course, even the judges will only give opinion and judgment on the basis of the facts brought before them. They are not supposed to give finding. You cannot blame the bench having not seen this, because this issue did not come up for consideration. Now, some of the lawyers have made a grievance, or judges also made a grievance, that the finding of the bench that you cannot switch back is erroneous. And according to me, that criticism is unjustified, unwarranted, because those issues never came up for consideration. Now the law is marching ahead, it is progressing ahead, and we are inventing more and more discoveries. So the new fact, in the way back in the year 1960s, 1780s, there were not many crimes. There were less crimes, and with the technological development, with the information technology, new crimes are coming out. There was, in those days it was not there. So as a result whereof, judgments of those earlier years have been passed, having regard to the nature of the dispute prevailing that time. So one cannot blame the judges or blame anybody else in that regard. So that is the scenario in the matter. Yes. So under the provisions of section 319, 311, further evidence can be recorded. What is the time now?
Sir, it's 7:48.
7. You want me to take a break or continue? Second lecture ले लेंगे
Sir,
अभी.
we can continue it. Your
Continue.
lecture already started it.
Started. You, अरे कुछ नहीं. I used to take till 10 o'clock, 11:30 also on the previous batch. You want to go to sleep early?
Maybe, sir.
So, maybe early. अच्छा अच्छा. Okay. I think
So I had a
we
question.
split it into. हाँ बोलिए. हाँ बोलिए. हाँ बोलिए मैडम.
Sir, is there any difference in the value of weapons which have been uncovered from a public space as opposed to a small confined place?
Public place and opposed to private place. Let me understand your question. Elaborate.
Sir, if for example the weapon has been uncovered from a public park which is dug, or a place where a specific cupboard in a place only I know. So is there any difference in the um value
So
of the
it it is a whether the weapon has been recovered by the police officer pursuant to your statement under section 27 of the Evidence Act. Suppose
Yes, sir.
even if you are hidden in a public space, at the time the police officer will take you to the public place. So he will ask the accused person, please find show where is the weapon? कहाँ पे छुपाया आपने? So at the time when the accused person is making a statement and trying to remove the article, and the police officer should, in the presence of two respectable witnesses who are in the park itself, the must take a inventory of the articles wherever it is hidden. वो inventory लेगा. Inventory लेके signatures will be taken in the presence of the accused person and two witnesses who are present. I have taken custody of the article, namely, for example, a churra, maybe a talwar, maybe a pistol, whatever may be, from which I committed the offense. वो दिखाने के बाद then of the police officer will show. Suppose if it is not a statement recorded under 27, a police officer will visit the house pursuant to complaint. At the house itself of the accused or complainant, a dead body is found. Along with the dead body, the weapon is found. Accused has been caught red-handed, isn't it? So
Yes, sir.
in such a situation, from a private place, the servants who are present in the house can be examined, and the inmates who are present, the children, wife, or the relations of the accused can be examined. Or if they are not, their immediate neighbors can be brought into question, and their statement can be recorded. And whatever articles which are used in the commission of the crime will be taken charge by the police, will be seized by the police officer in the presence of the witnesses and the accused person. They will be sealed and signed and kept. So that is in the household, in a private place. Understand?
Yes, so my question again was that would the public place
Would the public place? What happened? You are not audible.
public place
You are not audible. Again, please repeat. Something wrong. Just see, Kumar, what happened there.
I think, sir, there is some network problem.
Network.
Supriya, I will suggest you to send me the question on WhatsApp
Acha.
or chat over
Please,
the meeting, and I will ask, sir.
please send the question to Mr. Kumar.
Sir, sir, meanwhile, Kumar gets the question. Sir, can I ask another question?
हाँ पूछिए.
Sir, if a charge sheet is filed under 173, तो सर जब मजिस्ट्रेट कॉग्निजेंस लेगा अंडर 190, तो ये चार्जशीट पे ही विल मतलब उसके बेसिस पे वो कॉग्निजेंस लेगा या फिर मतलब ही विल हैव टू टेक इट मतलब पूरा फ्रेश ही लेना पड़ेगा, जो इन्वेस्टिगेशन हुई है ऑलरेडी उसके ऊपर लेना पड़ेगा या फिर?
Number one, the first step is a police officer, the magistrate will see the entire charge sheet he will padega.
Okay.
173 along with the documents and the case diary. You know, the entire thing he will take into consideration. But he has the option. He will say that here the charge sheet is incomplete. According to me, the investigation is improper and cognizance of offense is not made out.
अच्छा, but sir अगर
Not take it up, he may take it on.
So sir, अगर under 170 the police has given all the weapons, every requisite has been found, it is pretty obvious कि investigation का result क्या है. So can मतलब in that case, of course 169 में तो he will deny.
Yeah.
But under 170 can he say that?
Yeah, he will take cognizance. Under 170 magistrate will take cognizance.
So मतलब the result of the investigation will will be preferable.
Yes. Investigation report, normally the magistrate will take cognizance of the matter if the police officer has been able to satisfy the grounds in which have been. See that when you see section 173, every investigation should be completed. See 172 check karo. As soon as it is completed, offense of a charge of a police station shall forward to the empowered magistrate to take cognizance of the offense. So normally report is sent to take cognizance. So that means he has taken, he will consider under 173(2), magistrate will consider the report. See that here? Then document देखेंगे, then 173(5) के हिसाब से all persons are examined. 176 में all documents are given. Then he will 138 में 198. Then when it is all completed, then the magistrate will take cognizance under 190. 190 पे आ जाइए then. From the police report आता ना इसके अंदर section 190 read with clause B. Subject to the provision of the chapter, magistrate of first class and magistrate so and so in this behalf may take cognizance of the report upon a police report. So in the present case, 190 subclause B will come into play. In case the magistrate is not accepting the report, he may order reinvestigation under 156(3), or he will say that again further investigation under 178, or he will say that I will take investigation. Complainant may send a protest application. My lord, there is material in the matter so and so maybe. 190C will come into play normally when the police officer says that there is a closure report. So the option open with the magistrate, either invoke 190 clause B or send back the matter to the police under 156(3). 156(3). So this judgment, now this particular point which you raise is clear from a judgment. I sent it to you today, yesterday. Please open the judgment. I am giving you a judgment which you must read, where the report that took place of a person, that is judgment of the Supreme Court, Bhagwan Singh versus Commissioner of Police. Open karo. Kumar, if you want, take this as a second lecture. We'll continue.
Sure, sir.
Take this as a second lecture. I will continue the second lecture immediately. I'm continuing.
Okay, sir.
हाँ, ये continue because it will be too lengthy हो जाएगा. Take it as a second lecture. I will open this judgment of the Supreme Court. I will discuss this. A very interesting point you have raised. This student, what is your name, young man?
Sir, I am Subodh Kadam.
Subodh. Yes, Subodh. Good point you have raised. I am giving you the judgment of the Supreme Court and we'll go through the salient features you'll come to know. The parties' name are, I gave you the party's name right now. Take down the party's name.
Sir, you said Bhagwan Singh.
Bhagwan Singh versus Commissioner of Police, AIR 1985 Supreme Court, page number 1285. इसको जरा खोल लीजिए. इसके अंदर what happened? One of the FIR was lodged. Dowry demand था उसके अंदर. Complaint was not accepted. Then thereafter the person dies. Then closure report को challenge किया गया. Whether a person is entitled to or not investigation, and what should the magistrate do in that regard. I'll just briefly take you to this. Kalni open the judgment. This judgment you all should know. This judgment will throw light now on 2-3 issues. When the police officer has not taken cognizance or has taken cognizance, what should the magistrate do next? Whether the magistrate should take cognizance directly under 190 or whether he can start reinvestigation, or when the closure report is submitted, whether notice to the informer or victim is necessary or not, whether they should be heard or not, is the issue involved. Please open this. A very important judgment of 3-bench judgment of Justice Bhagwati, Justice Amarnath Sen and Justice Marden, that is DP Marden, who went from our Bombay. I will just read the facts, judgment. It's a contempt petition file, against the CBI. Under what circumstances contempt will file, I'll tell you that. Original jurisdiction contempt petition number 499 so and so under Article 32 of the Constitution, CBL AC so and so. The judgment of the court was delivered by Bhagwati J. The short question that arises for consideration in the writ petition is whether in a case where first information report is lodged and after the completion of the investigation initiated on the basis of the first information report, the police officer submits a report that no offense appears to have been committed, the magistrate can accept the report and drop the proceeding without issuing notice to the informer or injured person in their person, or in case the incident has resulted in death to the relative of the accused. It is not necessary to state the fact giving rise to writ petition because so far as the writ petition is concerned, we have already directed by order dated so and so that before a final order is passed on the report of the Central Bureau of Investigation by the Chief Metropolitan Magistrate, the petitioner, who is the father of the unfortunate Gurinder Singh, should have been heard. Gurinder Singh died as a result of the burn received by her received by her and alleged burned by her husband and his parents on account of failure to satisfy the demand of dowry. It's a very unfortunate case where the death take place in this regard. The circumstances in which Gurinder met with her unnatural death was investigated by the Central Bureau of Investigation and the report was filed by the CBI in the court of the Chief Metropolitan Magistrate, stating that in their opinion, in respect of the unnatural death, Gurinder Singh, no offense appeared to have been committed. Please note that Magistrate Court has no power to appoint a CBI. The magistrate can only order investigation by the local police station. For only the High Court and the Supreme Court can order investigation by the CBI. Probably here, when the police has not done the job, it appears that the petition under 482 CRPC has been filed requesting the High Court to appoint CBI. That is why the CBI come into picture. Now CBI investigates and they file the report. There is no further progress can be made. there is no evidence. Now let us see what the Supreme Court says. Yeah. Bureau of Investigation, Magistrate 11, stating that the opinion respect of the unnatural death. The petition was, however, the petitioner was not aware that such a report has been submitted by the CBI, and that therefore brought an application for initiating proceeding for contempt against the Central Bureau of Investigation on the ground that the CBI has not completed the investigation and submitted the report within the period stipulated by the court by the earlier order dated 6 May 1983. So, in fact, the CBI had filed the closure report. Closure report notice was not given to the victims. That is why had they come to know, they would not have filed. Though the victims were under the impression CBI is a hand in glove with the husband side, and they are not completing investigation, and they are not heard. They filed a contempt petition in the court to take action against them. Now, in the light of the contempt, what happened? Say that. Yeah. It was in reply to this application for initiation of the contempt proceeding that the Central Bureau of Investigation intimated that they had already filed the report in the Metropolitan Magistrate on 11th of March 1982, and the report was pending for consideration before the Chief Metropolitan Magistrate. So, the report is pending. The report is under 169 here. When the fact was brought to our notice, the Supreme Court notice, we immediately passed an order 28 November 1983 directing the petition should be heard before a final order was passed on the report. There was no objection on the part of the respondent to make this order, but since the question whether in the case this kind, the first information or the informant or relative of the accused or any other agreed person is entitled to be heard at the time of the consideration of the report by the magistrate, and whether the magistrate is bound to issue notice to any such person in question is of a general importance which is likely to arise frequently in criminal proceeding. We thought it would be desirable to finally dispose the question as to afford guidance to the courts of magistrate all over the country, and we accordingly proceed to hear the argument on both the sides. So a question of general public importance arose in this matter. So normally the procedure was that when FIR is lodged, the police officer investigate, when they file their closure report, they don't give notice to the family of the informer, which is wrong. That was the procedure followed. When that is not filed, the Supreme Court says in this matter here, closure report notice should be given. Now let us see the argument. It's a matter of general public importance. The magistrate is under obligation to give notice. Now see, it is necessary to refer to the provisions of the code CRPC 73 in order to arrive at a proper determination of this question. Now this is very interesting. Chapter 12 of the CRPC deals with the information to police and their power, investigation, and subsection 1 of 154 provide that every information relating to commission of the cognizable offence, if given orally to the police in charge police station, shall be reduced in writing by him under the direction and be ordered and be read over to the informer, and every such information, whether given in writing or reduced in writing, shall be signed by the person giving it, and subsection 2 and subsection require that the copy of the such information shall be given forthwith free of cost to the informer. So far so good. That is, the VLND. Now section 156(1) vests in the officers in charge of a police station the power to investigate any cognizable case without an order of the magistrate. Please note that here, very important. And under 190, to order an investigation as mentioned under 160 subsection 1 of subsection, section 157 lays down that if from the information received otherwise an officer in charge of a police station has reason to suspect that the commission of the offence which is empowered under 156 investigation, he shall forthwith send the report to the magistrate empowered to take cognizance of such offence on a police report, and shall proceed to the spot to investigate the fact and circumstance of the case, and if necessary to make the measures of the discovery and arrest the offender. But there are of the but there are of the first information lodged by him. That is the requirement. No sooner he lodges first information report, a copy has to be supplied to him free of cost under subsection 4. If two proviso to the section proviso be enacted, it appears to the officer in charge of a police station there is no sufficient ground to entertain an investigation, he shall not investigate the case. But in such a case, subsection 2, 157 requires that the officer shall forthwith notify the information to that fact he will not investigate the case, cause to be investigated. What is the officer in charge of a police station required to do on completion of the investigation setup? So under 157, he is under obligation not to investigate. Now, when he investigates, then let us see. Section 173, subclause 2(1), 73 provide that as soon as investigation is completed, the officer in charge of a police station shall forward the report to the magistrate empowered to take cognizance of the offence on the police report, a report in the form prescribed by the government. So each government prescribes it, which we learned it right now in the matter. Without then as offence appearing to have been committed, if so. Subsection 2, clause 2 of section 173 state that, this is important, pay attention, state that the officer shall communicate in such manner as may be prescribed by the state government action taken by him to the person, if any, by whom information relating to the commission of the offence was first given. So it is mandatory under section 173, subclause 2, clause 3, clause 2, information must be given. Then section 190, subclause 1 then proceed to enact that any magistrate of the first class and magistrate of the second class specially empowered on this behalf and may take cognizance of the offence upon receiving a complaint of the fact which constituted the offence, or upon a police report, or upon information received from any person other than the police officer, or upon his own knowledge that such offence has been committed. We are concerned in the case only with the clause B. In clause B, when the police officer completes investigation and submits the report, or complete the information, submit the report to take cognizance or not to take cognizance. Let us see that. Because the question we are examining here is whether the magistrate is bound to issue notice to the first informant or the injured or to any relative of the deceased when considering the police report submitted to him under 173(2). So the power of the magistrate under section 190 subclause B and the power of the police officer under 173(2) is the subject matter of discussion in the judgment. Let us see. It will be seen from the provision which we have referred to in the preceding paragraph, when the information lodge report with the officer in charge station, he does not fade away with the lodging of the first information report. So when the first information is lodged, it has to meet his natural consequences. It cannot be fade away. It cannot be erased out completely. Now what is? He is very much concerned with what the action initiated by the officer in charge of a police station on the basis of the first information. So a person informer, that is you or me, lodging a complaint to police officer, have a right to know the outcome of the FIR. The police officer cannot turn the Nelson's eye and say that no report is made out. I have given the report, you will be communicated and you need not know. That cannot be. That is not the procedure. Let us see that here. Yes. Where are we? Yes. On sooner he lodges information report, a copy of this applied to the cause. Sorry, where are we reading? Yes. Then again, the officer in charge of a police, the question immediately arises as to why action taken by a police officer, police station on first information report is required to be communicated and reported forward to the magistrate under 2173 required to be supplied information. Obviously, the reason is that the informant who set the machinery of investigation into motion by filing the first information report must know what is the result of the investigation initiated on the basis of the FIR. the informant having taken the initiative in lodging the first information report with a view to initiating investigation by the police for the purpose of ascertaining whether any offence has been committed, and if so, by whom, it's vitally interested in the result of the investigation. And the law requires that the action taken by the officer in charge of the police station on the first information report should be communicated to him, and the report forwarded by the officer to the magistrate under subsection 2(1) of 173 should also be supplied to him. So it is not only mandatory for the police officer to give first information report under 154, it is also mandatory for the police officer to give the outcome of the report, the information, first information, after examination kya hua, whether you are taking cognizance or not, whether the case is made out accordingly or not. That communication also the informer is entitled to. Okay, now when the report forwarded by the officer in charge of the police station, magistrate under 213, come up for consideration by the magistrate, on two different situations may arise. Now, when the report is filed, the magistrate, there are two situations may come up before the magistrate. Now, let us see. The report may be concluded that the offence appears to have been committed by a particular person or person in such a case. The magistrate may do one of the three things. He may accept the report, number one, take cognizance of the offence and issue process. If he takes cognizance, he will issue process under section 204. Number two, he may disagree with the report and drop the proceeding. So the magistrate may disagree with the report and drop the proceeding under section 169. Number three, he may direct further investigation. Underline this word. He may direct further investigation under subsection 3 of 163. See that here? These are the wide powers of the magistrate. There are three remedies open to the magistrate. Number one, he will either accept the report and issue process, or he will not accept the report, drop the proceeding, or he will say that I am ordering further investigation in case of doubt. These are the three measures which can be taken by the learned magistrate and require the police to make further report. So further report provisions are given. I right now read it to you. Section 173 subclause 8 के अंदर the police officer cannot say that I will not do further investigation. His powers are given under 173(8). Okay. Now come further reading. कहाँ पे आए हम लोग? Yes. Wherein either wherein either of these two situations, magistrate decide to take cognizance of the issue process, the informant is not prejudicially affected nor is injured, or in the case of a death, any relative of the deceased agreed person, because cognizance of the offence is taken by the magistrate. Now, when the magistrate take cognizance, when they don't have to bother, they will be very happy. There is no injustice to them. In which event, but if the magistrate, in which event notice is not necessary to them. When a cognizance is being taken, automatically matter will go on. They may be required to come when charge sheet is filed, or when someone as a witness is to give recording evidence and in the court, because the statement recorded under 161 is not evidence. So the law is very good here so far. When the magistrate
सर सॉरी टू इंटरप्ट बट आई वाज जस्ट गोइंग थ्रू दिस पॉइंट सर यहाँ पे अभी जो आपने पढ़ा वहीं पे इट इज क्लियरली सेड द इन्फॉर्मेंट इज नॉट प्रीजुडिशियली अफेक्टेड नॉर इज द इंजर्ड, और इन केस ऑफ डेथ उनके रिलेटिव्स भी प्रीजुडिशियली अफेक्टेड नहीं होंगे.
यहाँ पे कभी when the magistrate taking cognizance,
अगर कॉग्निजेंस लिया
अगर कॉग्निजेंस ले रहा है मजिस्ट्रेट
आफ्टर 173, अगर कॉग्निजेंस लिया,
so the case will go on with the accused person. So the complainant and the victims are not prejudicially affected. The case will go on.
अच्छा, तो that means कि उनको affect नहीं करेगा. Okay.
Affect नहीं करेगा because the case will go on. The court is in their favor. So that means the court is not under obligation to inform them I am taking cognizance.
Yes.
समझे ना आप? Huh? But when the court is not taking cognizance, when the magistrate says that the police report I am rejecting, I am dropping the proceeding. Now second stage follow करो. Now see that here. कहाँ पे आएगा हम लोग? But if the magistrate decide that there is no sufficient ground for proceeding further and drop the proceedings, or takes a view that there is sufficient ground for proceeding against some, there is no sufficient ground for proceeding against some other mention in the first information report, then the informant would certainly be prejudiced, because first information report lodged by him would have failed of this purpose wholly or in part. So naturally the FIR जो आदमी फाइल किया है, he will be frustrated if the magistrate comes to the conclusion that there is a police report के अंदर बाकायदा लिखा गया है, there is no evidence to proceed, I am dropping it. Or 5-6 people, for example, the housewife has been killed by husband, mother-in-law, daughter-in-law, son-in-law, 5-6 लोग, but only husband को party बनाया गया है. What about the mother-in-law, father-in-law, the brother-in-law, daughter-in-law? वो लोग का भी role है. They have abetted the crime. So definitely the father of the girl who died, he is the first informer, he will be prejudicially affected. Why the magistrate is only choosing to prosecute the husband, and why is he giving clean chit to the mother-in-law, daughter-in-law, son-in-law, all these people? In such an event, they are entitled, the complainant is entitled to notice. इसका मतलब आप further पढ़िए आप. Yeah. Moreover, when the interest of the informant is so and so, I'm sorry, कहाँ पे आए हम लोग? कहाँ पे आ गया भैया? No doubt when on a consideration of the report so and so. कहाँ पे?
Sir, you are right. More से start.
Yeah, बराबर हूँ मैं? Let me complete the sentence, then we'll discuss the question. Yeah. Moreover, वहीं पे है ना? There can be no doubt that when
Yes,
in a
sir.
consideration of the report, officer in charge police station 2-1, the magistrate is not inclined to take cognizance of the offence and issue process. The information must be given an opportunity of being heard, so that he can make submission to persuade the magistrate to take cognizance of the offence of the issue process. So when the magistrate is only taking cognizance against the husband, not against father-in-law, mother-in-law, who are involved in cruelty cases, who are involved in dowry burning cases. It's a case falling under section 304, 304A of the IPC. Isn't it? Dowry demand case, read with section 498. Yes, serious matter, death bhi ho gaya. Section 3 of the Dowry Prohibition Act. So in such an event, when the magistrate takes the view that only husband is guilty, not the other people, or nobody is guilty, and if she committed suicide and acquitting everybody, there is no need to proceed against anybody, then naturally the father of the girl, mother of the girl, brother, sister, and the family, they are aggrieved person. They are affected because their FIR is yielding no efforts. They have a right to file protest petition against the closure report. Please note that they will protest. The police officer has given a wrong report, and the police officer ought to have given me notice. I did not come to know the notice. I did not come to know the police officer has given notice. I only came to know from media. When I came to know the accused got a bail, he is roaming freely, which is a serious matter. And we would like to be heard, and we will oppose the closure report. That is why they are called prejudicially affected. When they are prejudicially affected, notice must be given to the victims or to the person who filed the FIR. Okay, now let us read further. Yeah, take the view, information, magistrate must give notice. Yeah, it was urged before us on behalf of the respondent that if such a notice is required to be given to the informant, it might result in unnecessary delay on account of difficulty or affecting service of the notice on the informant. देखिए, the contention raised by the accused family member, नोटिस देने की जरूरत ही नहीं, नोटिस देंगे तो डिले हो जाएगा, which is wrong. Supreme Court rightly says, but we do not think this can be regarded as a valid objection against the view we are taking, because in any case the action taken by the police on FIR has to be communicated to the informant, and a copy of the report has to be supplied to him under subsection 173. If that be so, we do not see any reason why it should be difficult to serve the notice, of the consideration of the report to the informant. Moreover, in any event, the difficulty of service of notice on the informant cannot possibly provide any justification for depriving the informant of the opportunity of being heard at the time when the report is considered by the magistrate. What a beautiful judgment this is. So prior to this judgment, the police were not giving notices. In my opinion, even today, many people are not giving. So as an alert lawyer, you have to point out to the court that the closure report filed under 169 is illegal. I have not been informed, and they have not collected evidence. They should need more collection, or they should have joined everybody. 10 people as the accused. They have joined only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. What about the remaining people? I am prejudicially affected. I am challenging the closure report against others. This honorable court may take cognizance. The Supreme Court. So a vague attempt was made by the other side. It's a waste of time. It will prolong the proceeding if notice is given. That is absolutely ridiculous and illogical argument, in my opinion, and the Supreme Court rightly repelled it here. Now in the second paragraph, let us see what the Supreme Court says. It's a beautiful judgment. Last paragraph है, देख लें. The position may, however, be a little different when we consider the question. Whether the injured person or the relative of the deceased who is not the informant is entitled to notice when the report comes up for consideration by the magistrate. So, for example, informant is dead and gone, he is not available, then relative, maybe the cousin, maybe a second cousin, maybe remote relatives, in such a, whether they are entitled to notice or not, is the question which was discussed in second paragraph. We cannot spell out either from the provisions of the court in the CRPC or from the principles of natural justice any obligation on the magistrate to issue notice to the injured person or relatives of the person for providing such person an opportunity of being heard at the time of consideration of the report, unless such person is in the information who has lodged information report. So only first information is entitled to notice, or immediate relative, maybe mother, brother, sister. But अगर वो available नहीं, relatives के बारे में, first cousin, second cousin, third cousin, who may be part and parcel members of the joint Hindu family, HUF maybe, whether they have a right to know about it. Now in that connection, what the Supreme Court says that here, we cannot spell out, then relatives, yes, unless such person is, unless such person lodge information report, but even if such a person is not entitled to notice from the magistrate, he can appear before the magistrate and make submission when the report is considered by the magistrate for the purpose of deciding what action should be taken on report. Suppose a first cousin, second cousin who is not the informer, he comes to know that here, yes, his uncle who had lodged the FIR is dead. His children are abroad, America, London mein hai. You are a person closely related to the family. You may be a cousin, you may be a family friend. You come to know that the accused को छोड़ दिया गया है. You have a right to appear before the magistrate. The moment you come to know the matter is likely to be heard tomorrow, day after tomorrow, and present an application, tell the court, my lord, be pleased to cancel the police report. I have a protest application that cognizance be taken in the matter by your honor under section 190 subclause 3, or the investigation may be restarted. This is a cogent case. There is a lot of material. So he has a right to be heard without being noticed. He has come to some knowledge mil gaya, because it may be a small village, a small town. Everybody comes to know. That people are keeping track of the victim's movement. In such a scenario, though they are not entitled to notice, because they were not the first informer, they being relatives or friends, like under the provisions of the CPC, you know that a provision, when you are not a person who is not a list, you cannot be heard unless you have interest. When the suit is filed, you come to know your land is affected under Order 1, Rule 10 CPC. You can make the application, I have a right to be heard. I may be implemented as a party. So similarly, under the CRPC, under the provisions of CRPC, the person can make the application to the magistrate under section 311 that evidence may be recorded, isn't it? I just read out to you the provisions of section 311. Please make a note of it. Re-examination, trial applying condition. Yes, 311. Power to summon material witnesses provision, and section 319. 319, power of the court to proceed against any person who was subsequently brought on record. So that provision is there in the matter. Now, about the relatives ke baare mein, come to then the injured person or the relative of the deceased, though not entitled to notice by the magistrate, has a locus standi to appear before the magistrate at the time of the consideration of the report, if he has otherwise come to know that the report is going to be considered by the magistrate. If he wants to make submission in report of the report, the magistrate is bound to hear him. He cannot deny. We may also observe that even though the magistrate is not bound to hear and give him not to give a notice hearing fixed for the consideration of the injured person or any relative of the deceased, he may, in the exercise of a discretion, if he thinks so fit, give such notice to the injured person or particular relative of the relative deceased person. But not giving of the notice will not have any invalidating the effect of the order which may be made by the magistrate on a consideration. Then last is this is our view with regard to the question which has arisen for consideration before us. Since the question is of general importance, we would direct the copies of the judgment shall be sent to high courts and the states which may be run circular, so and so. Very important judgment. So 2 points are 2 points come for consideration in this matter. Number 1, when a FIR is lodged, copy must be given to the informant. When after investigation is completed, the police officer under obligation to inform the informer the outcome of the information. Number 2, when the police officer files a closure report, the magistrate is bound to give notice of the closure report to the first informer or the victim's relative, whoever are the relatives. It is mandatory. Suppose when the victim is not there, only relations are the affected person, they have a right to come before the court and make a representation if we would like to be heard, though we have not been given notice. The magistrate may consider whether to give notice or not to give notice. But he cannot say, I will not hear. Hearing is mandatory. Giving of a notice is discretionary. The magistrate may take up the plea that here from the police report, when 169 is filed, the magistrate may disagree with the report. If he disagrees, that option open to him, he may dismiss the case under 169 by passing order, final order under section, under the provisions of section 19. Which section it is? Under the provisions of 190. Or he himself may take cognizance on 190C. Or he may say that, yeah, I am investigating. I am ordering investigation under 156.3. Okay? These are the 3 options. Anybody wants to ask me a question? Hope this is very clear to you. Okay?
Yes, thank you, sir. Sir, one more small thing.
हाँ जी.
सर ये 173 में अंडर सबसेक्शन 1A ये जो गैरेप के सारे केसेस दिए हुए हैं, दे शुड बी कंप्लीटेड विद इन 2 months. चार्जशीट का प्रोविजन दिया हुआ है.
No, that is वो रेप केसेस के लिए दिया गया.
हाँ सर, तो ये स्टार्ट कब होता है ये, मतलब सर 2 months का पीरियड स्टार्ट कब होता है?
दिया गया है but magistrate 173 जो दिया है investigation police report taken often within a period of 2 months, that is a 173 आप check करेंगे
1A.
1A that is added recently, investigation in respect of all matrimonial offences. All depends because the courts are not working, magistrates are not working, and it's very difficult to say that.
No, sir, I'm just saying कि when the 2 month period starts, मतलब the timer starts, like FIR file होती है तब या फिर
Start from the date of the filing of the FIR.
okay, okay. Thank you so much.
Date of the FIR. FIR should be lodged immediately. If you lodge FIR after 6 months, 7 months, the value of your FIR dies. Of course, in rape cases, having regard to the fact that the girls are very shy nature, having regard to shy condition, they will not feel shy, courts are considerate. Other offences, normally, FIR should be lodged immediately, promptly, within maybe say half an hour's time, 1 hour's time, 2 hours. If the police station is close by, you go to it tomorrow, day after tomorrow, that will be fatal. That gives room for improvement. That gives room for fabrication. समझे ना? वो fabrication की क्या नाम पिक्चर में embellishment आ जाएगा. तो please don't delay the FIR. Immediately report हुआ जाके lodge करने का. हाँ? That cannot be.
Thank you, sir.
हाँ.
Thank you.
और कुछ बोलना है आपको? So I want to conclude today the judgment of Justice क्या नाम the 3-bench judgment open करो. Then tomorrow my Wednesday I want to take the cases against medical practitioners. That is a Jacob Matthews case. Today I will complete the judgment and open the Vinubhai's case. Vinubhai Haribhai's case. I will complete the submission today. It is just about 10 minutes. Vinubhai Haribhai's case कर लो. So, and the facts of this case, I won't again repeat it here. The last video I have given, narration of fact, please go through that. And whatever is not discussed, I will concern. So, in that Haribhai's case, when FIR was lodged, under the provisions of 420, 465, 67, so and so, by the power of attorney holder of American citizens, by the adjoining neighbor in respect of the land, the cognizance was taken. The accused person made an application to the police officer, investigate under 156(3). Then he went to the police magistrate, please may investigate under 156(3). So other side took up the plea. It's in the nature of the evidence which the accused person can direct, he cannot come. The accused also felt that here the crime has been committed. See that paragraph number 4 के अंदर that was the application made under 156(3), which was rejected by the magistrate and session court. Magistrate by the magistrate. You know that? Yeah. Separate criminal application in the matter. Then the submissions of Dushyant Dave are recorded in paragraph number 7. Who brought on record various submissions, the magistrate power to record. Then paragraph number 8 में the court is discussing the 178(3) CRPC based on several judgments. Paragraph number 9 and 10, the Supreme Court is discussing the entire CRPC, that whatever, see, that is a very beautiful judgment. From paragraph number 10 onwards, I'm sorry. Paragraph number 10 onwards, the entire investigation is discussed. मिला आपको? Paragraph number 10 onwards, मिला ना? Yes, till I'm just something missed out from my computer. I am just coming. Yes, they have discussed the provisions of section 173, 190, and 202. Please see that 204. This I won't again recapitulate because this has been discussed. Then paragraph number 13 के अंदर they discuss about inquiry. Paragraph number 14 के अंदर they discuss about 173 report के बारे में. 14 के अंदर भी. Then paragraph 15. What is interesting to note is the narrow view taken by some of the High Court that have placed hindrance in the way of investigation agency, which can be very unfair to the prosecution as well as the accused. This is subject. Then they have discussed article. They have related the matter to Maneka Gandhi's case, that a fair investigation, which I won't discuss much here. Paragraph number 21 के अंदर also they discuss the judgment of Pooja Pal's case, where Article 21 was invoked in the matter, which I won't discuss the matter. Then the amendment of the amended section 178(3)(8) has been discussed in paragraph number 19. Paragraph number 20. It is interesting to note, even in the CRPC, Kamalapati Trivedi's case has been judgment where the Supreme Court permitted a reinvestigation in the matter, which was not brought to the notice of the earlier judgment in Devrapalli's judgment. Then see, paragraph number 21. What is recognized by the judgment is the circumstances that magistrate does not agree with the police report, he may order further investigation, which I pointed out to you. Paragraph number 22, 156(3) remain unchanged. Then Saldana judgment is discussed. You can go through if you like it. That is, the Saldana judgment say that the magistrate has power to order reinvestigation. Dilawar case. Then paragraph number 15, 16 says power of the magistrate is independent, which we learned. I already told you this. Paragraph number 17, 156 is wide enough to include all powers. Please note that 156 is very wide. Then paragraph number 18, it said that it is well settled that when power is given to the authority to do something, including incidental implied power, the court can do that. Paragraph number 23, this is what 23, 24, they discuss Devrapalli judgment. We'll go through this. It is thus clear from the magistrate power under 156(3), para 23 of the CRPC is very wide. For this judicial discretion authority, it must be satisfied that the power of investigation police take place to ensure that a proper investigation take place, in the sense fair investigation investigated by the police officer. Article 21 discussed. I won't be mentioning it here. Now, paragraph number 24, very important. Please pay attention. However, Shri Basan relied upon the three-bench judgment of Devrapalli Lakshminarayan Reddy's case, which we discussed. This judgment, while deciding whether the first proviso to section 201 CRPC was attracted on the fact of the case held, 156(3) occurs in chapter 12 under caption information to the police and to the power to investigate. While section 202 is in chapter 15, which bears the heading complaint to magistrate. The power to order investigation under 156(3) is different from the power to investigation under 202. The two operate in a distinct sphere at a different stage. The first is exercisable at the pre-cognizant stage and second post. So that was the observation in Devrapalli Lakshminarayan case. Then see next further. Cognizant stage when magistrate is in session of the case. That is to say, in the case of a complaint regarding commission of the cognizable offence, the power under 156(3) can be invoked by magistrate before the cognizance of the offence 190A. But if he takes such cognizance and embark upon the procedure in chapter 15, he is not competent to switch back to the pre-cognizant stage and avail 156(3). This is not correct position which they have been distinguishing. Let us go through further. It may be noted that the order made under subsection 3, 156(3) in the nature of a peremptory reminder of a intimation to the police to exercise their plenary powers of investigation under 156(1). Such investigation embraces the entire continuous process which begins with the collection of evidence under 156, ends with the report under 173. On the other hand, 202 comes at a stage when some evidence has been collected by the magistrate in proceeding under chapter 15, but the same is deemed to seem to be insufficient to take decision as to next step in the prescribed procedure. In such a situation, the magistrate is empowered under 202 to direct within the limits some prescribed that section an investigation for the purpose of deciding whether or not there is sufficient ground to proceed. Thus, the object of investigating under 202 is not to initiate a fresh case on the report, but to assist the magistrate in completing proceeding underlying initiating before him. This judgment was then followed in Tula Ram's case, which we come. Now, this observation is not accepted in paragraph number 25. Please see that here. Whereas it is true that 156.3 remains unchanged even after 190C3 has been brought before the court in 1973 court, and a very important addition, namely 173.8, which did not exist under the 1898 court. As we have noticed earlier, the judgment under section 2H CRPC defined investigation in the same term as the other contained in 2.1 of the CRPC, which is different. The investigation after 1973 court has come into force will now include all the proceedings under the code for the collection of the evidence conducted by the police officer. All would clearly include under 173.8 as well. Thus, when section 156 is stated, the magistrate empowered 190 may order such investigation. Magistrate may also order investigation under 173.8 regard having had to the definition of investigation. Then say 2H is not noticed by the aforesaid judgment, judgment of Devarapalli's judgment, all resulting in the erroneous finding in law that the power under 156.3 can only be exercised at a precognizant stage. This is what the judgment of Devarapalli Lakshminarayan's case. Please remember this, paragraph number 17 mein likha gaya. This bench is not agreeing in 26. The investigation spoken of in 156 would embrace the entire process, which begins with the collection of the evidence and continue till charge as framed by the court, which is the stage a trial can set to begin. From these reasons, the statement of law contained in 17 in Devarapalli Lakshminarayan Reddy cannot be relied upon. So the judgment has been found fault with because not only this judgment of Justice Nariman, even the judgment right now I read it of Justice Bhagwati's judgment, three-bench judgment in the case of right now I read it to you, which is the Bhagwan Singh's case. In Bhagwan Singh's case, the three-bench says that they said that the magistrate, it is open for him to invoke section 156.3. So even in the case of the Vinubhai Haribhai Malaviya's case, the state of Gujarat, which is the recent judgment given on 16th October 2001, Justice Nariman's bench takes the view that investigation order, re-investigation order under 156.3 can be taken even subsequently. And the judgment of Devarapalli's judgment, that is citation you must remember, which is also a good judgment according to me, but the observation in paragraph number 17 are not correct. That is AIR 19, 76 Supreme Court 1670. I'm sorry. Judgment is AIR 1976 Supreme Court 1672. Devarapalli Lakshminarayan versus Narayan Reddy versus Narayan. Judgment of Justice Sarkaria and Justice Jaswant Singh. So this is not a good ruling with regard to the proposition that investigation order under 156 cannot be reordered. The paragraph number 17 should be deleted because you have to follow the present judgment of the Supreme Court in the case of Vinubhai Haribhai Malaviya's case and the judgment of the Supreme Court, which I read out to you right now, Bhagwan Singh versus Commissioner of Police, a three-bench judgment of Justice Bhagwati. Okay, with this, the chapter is closed on this investigation, power of the magistrate, 190 ABC. Anybody has any question, please inform me, because day after tomorrow, I am going to take complaints, very interesting complaint against doctors. Doctors, when they commit a criminal negligence, that is section 304, which IPC के अंदर section 304A B 304A 304A के अंदर crime take place, 336, 337, 388 CRPC is also offend, and also section 192, 193, 194 IPC, and the Consumer Protection Act के अंदर deficiency of service में you claim damages against the doctors for negligence, gross negligence, and you also claim damages from the civil court under the law of tort from the doctors. And what is the nature of a complaint which is required to be filed against the doctors? We will discuss it on Wednesday. So today, please ask me any question which may be in your mind under the provisions of section 169, closure report, under the provisions of 170, charge sheet is filed, document tendered, and document withheld. Some documents of national interest, public policy cannot be given. And when a closure report is given, whether notice should be given or not to be given to the informer, and what is the role of a magistrate, and when the charge sheet is given, closure report is given, whether he should invoke 190 A, B, C, that we have discussed, and in what cases the learned magistrate can invoke against section 156(3) CRPC. We have discussed, relying upon the various judgment of the Supreme Court, recently concluding with the judgment of Kerala, the Supreme Court in Haribhaus Malaviya's case. Okay, this is the end of the chapter on this. Please, according to me, the entire CRPC, according to the FIR, first information report, in complaint procedure should be complete, will be clear to you. Anybody has any question, please ask me, I will answer. कोई question?
Sir, may I ask the question which was shared by Supriya?
Please, go ahead.
So Supriya asked, a weapon which is covered in public place is more susceptible to being tampered and planted. So will it still hold more value compared to a weapon taken from a private place known only to the offender?
Yes, it's a very good question, Shehzaz. It is a matter of appreciation of evidence. क्या बोलते हैं? The role of Evidence Act will come into play. Number one, whether the police officer has properly conducted the investigation. Number one, whether there was a confession by the accused person under 27 of the Evidence Act, or whether the police officer suo motu has gone there, or normally it is upon the confession made by the accused person. Whether the accused person, when he made the confession, whether the recovery is taken place in the presence of respectable citizens who are reliable witnesses, or whether they are regular police witnesses. It's a matter of appreciation of evidence. It's a quality of the evidence. It is subjected to cross-examination, re-examination, and examination chief. It's a role of Evidence Act. How the evidence is recorded by the magistrate and the court of session judge depends on. It is very difficult to say at this stage whether the evidence is a good evidence, bad evidence. It is all depends upon how the witnesses have deposed before the court. Similarly, there is no reason why the best evidence of one witness can be rejected and bad evidence of 100 people can be accepted. It is not a rule in the eyes of law. You must examine maximum witnesses, but you must have best witnesses, the persons who are eyewitnesses who have seen the offense and who are reliable witnesses. They may not be chance witnesses. They must be called evidence of sterling quality. When I am discussing some of the provision relating to criminal law, what is the nature of evidence? Sterling quality evidence, best quality evidence, and chance witnesses. I will discuss with you one lecture later. So it's a matter of appreciation of evidence. So जो public place में, for example, park में बैठे हुए आदमी थे, whether they were bhelpuri wala, whether they were people who had come for taking a round, a respectable doctor, lawyer, chemist, some social interested person, whether he is related to the accused or related to the police, cross-examination में सवाल जवाब होंगे. So you have to gather from the surrounding circumstances, from the material and record. It is very difficult to answer this question at this stage, but only after the conclusion of the trial, from the quality of the evidence. Whether the witnesses have been properly cross-examined, whether the witnesses have been impeached, whether the witnesses have truthfully deposed. There is sterling quality evidence. So their evidence is blemishless. It all depends. Okay. Hope this is clear to you. Is that clear, Supriya?
I think she has left the room.
She has left. Let her. You can give her the message, or she may watch the proceedings tomorrow. और कुछ पूछना है आपको? Yeah. If you are not having any question, if you are having any question, please ask me. And day after tomorrow, I am going to cover very interesting judgment of the Supreme Court in medical evidence. What is the nature of evidence which is required to be given? See, आपके ग्रुप में दिया हूं मैं. Isn't it? I have given the group ना, isn't it?
Yes, sir.
वो पढ़ के आ जाइए जरा.
Sure, sir.
The latest judgment of Jacob Martin's case पढ़ के आ जाइए. And I will also discuss the rule under the law of tort में, and also Consumer Protection Act के अंदर, and will be dealing with the provisions of section 304 IPC with regard to negligence, and section 336, 337, 388 IPC, and 192, 193, 194 IPC with regard to good intention, bad intention, malified intention. वो सब discuss करेंगे. Okay, shall we wind up for the day? If no questions are there, if there are any questions, I am prepared to wait and answer. Is this lecture clear to you, all of you? समझ में आ गया?
Yes, sir.
Okay. No question. Shall I wind it up then? हाँ या ना बोलिए.
We can, sir.
We can. Only you are saying. What about other people?
I can't say, sir, about others.
They are still in doubt or what? Okay. If you are not in doubt, then we'll wind it up. Okay. Chalo, good night and see you day after tomorrow with complaints against doctors. A very interesting, interesting matter covering various 3-4 Supreme Court judgments.